So, this is how I die. In a Korean mafia boss's bedroom. Wearing my ratty Converse on his marble floor that probably costs more than my entire bloodline. You're probably thinking, Favor, what the hell did you do? Well, let me rewind to the exact moment my life became a K-drama nightmare. It started with a car crash and ended with me trapped in the bedroom of the most dangerous man in Seoul. Okay, quick backstory. I'm Favor Balogun. I've been living in Seoul for exactly 3 months. Teaching English to pay the bills, eating convenience store ramen for literally every meal, and driving this absolute legend of a car that I bought for $200 off a guy named Kevin who disappeared immediately after the sale. Red flag? Maybe. But I needed wheels. I was on my way to a job interview, finally a chance to upgrade from barely surviving to occasionally thriving when my phone buzzed. Final notice. Rent overdue. 500,001. No, no, no. Not today, Satan. Not today. I looked down at the phone for 1 second. And that's when it happened. Crash. Time stopped. My car looked like it had been through a war. His car? A tiny scratch. Tiny. But on a car like that, a Mercedes Maybach that probably costs more than a house. I was done for. I sat frozen in my driver's seat, knuckles white on the steering wheel. Okay. Just apologize. Offer to pay. It's fine. It's fine. Then the driver's door opened. First, I saw expensive black leather shoes. Then tailored suit pants. A Patek Philippe watch glinting in the rain. And finally, him. Oh no. This man looked like he could end my life with a glance. Late 20s. Absolutely devastating. Sharp jawline. Cold, dark eyes. A small scar cutting through his left eyebrow. Black hair styled perfectly. The hint of a tattoo visible on his neck above his collar. He adjusted his watch and stared at my destroyed Honda like it was a roach he was about to step on. I stumbled out of my car, rain immediately soaking me. I was shaking so bad I could barely stand. His voice was calm. Terrifyingly soft. Do you have insurance? I stammered, letting out a nervous laugh. Yes. Well, I mean, technically, it's the legal minimum. His jaw ticked. The legal minimum. Which is something? Something is better than nothing, right? Right? He pulled out his phone, didn't break eye contact with me, and made one call. In Korean, he said something that sounded very official and very scary. That's when I noticed the entourage. A black SUV parked behind his car. 2 men in suits with earpieces standing by it, watching me. The "we dispose of bodies for a living" vibe was strong. My knees literally buckled. Oh my God. Oh my God. You're not just rich, are you? He looked at me. Really looked at me for the first time. His expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. No, I'm not. One of his suited men approached, whispered in his ear in Korean. I caught the words, handle her, and my soul left my body. Handle her. Handle her. But then the boss held up one hand, and everyone stopped moving. The power in that simple gesture was terrifying. He spoke to his men in Korean, then turned to me. Get in the car. The car? Which car? My car is. My car. Now. And that's how I ended up in a mafia boss's car, soaking wet, probably about to be murdered. The ride to his office was silent. Except for my internal screaming. So apparently, when you crash into a mafia boss, you get escorted to his literal headquarters. This massive building in Gangnam, all glass and steel and intimidation. I was led to a penthouse office. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul. Dark wood furniture. Abstract art worth millions. I sat in a designer chair, still soaking wet, looking tiny in the massive space. The boss sat behind his desk, fingers steepled. A man in glasses stood beside him with a tablet. The damage assessment is complete, sir, the accountant said. And? The accountant glanced nervously at me. The total cost comes to 47 million won. I literally choked on air. I'm sorry, what? The boss leaned back in his chair, cool as ice. 40,000 US dollars. Give or take. All color drained from my face. 40,000. Given your financial situation, which we've already reviewed. Wait, you reviewed how did you? The accountant continued like I hadn't spoken. You clearly cannot pay the sum. Which means we'll need to discuss alternative arrangements. I stood up so fast my chair scraped. Alternative arrangements? What does that even mean? Are you gonna harvest my organs? Because honestly, my kidneys have survived so much instant ramen, they're probably worthless. My liver gave up in college. I have nothing of value. The boss watched me with that same unreadable expression. Then he said one word. Sit. I sat immediately, like a puppet with cut strings. The power in that one word. He stood, walked to the window, hands in pockets. Soles spread out behind him like he owned it. Which he probably did. You'll work off your debt. I blinked. Work. You'll work for me until the debt is cleared. 6 months. I stood again, defensive. 6 months? Doing what exactly? Because I don't know if you've noticed, but I don't exactly have Mafia skills. I can't fight. I faint at the sight of blood. I once cried during a rom-com commercial. His lips twitched. Almost a smile. Almost. You'll find out tomorrow. 9 a.m. sharp. He pulled out a black business card with embossed gold lettering and slid it across the desk. This is an address? My home. My eyes snapped up to his. Your home. Don't be late. I tried to ask more questions, but he was already walking to the door. He paused, looked back over his shoulder. You'll see. And then he was gone. I stood alone in that massive office, holding the card, shaking. And that's when I knew. I was absolutely, completely, totally screwed. I didn't sleep that night. I spent the entire night Googling what to do if you owe a mafia boss money and how to fake your own death in South Korea. The results were not helpful. The next morning, I stood outside his mansion. Modern architecture. All glass and steel and intimidation. I was wearing my nicest outfit, which still had a tiny stain I tried to hide. The door opened before I could knock. An elderly housekeeper stood there, looking at me with genuine pity. You're the car girl. Poor thing. Come, come. He waiting. I was led through the house. Everything was pristine. Minimalist. White marble, modern art, nothing out of place. It looked like a museum. Like if I touched anything, alarms would go off. We stopped at a closed door. His bedroom. Good luck. She patted my shoulder sympathetically and walked away, leaving me alone. His bedroom. I stared at the door. Took a deep breath. Reached for the handle. The door creaked open. The bedroom was massive. Pristine. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. And there he stood by the window in a white dress shirt, sleeves rolled up, revealing intricate black tattoo ink on his forearms. Dragons. Geometric patterns. I stood frozen in the doorway. Close the door, he said without turning around. I swallowed hard and closed it with shaking hands. Silence. He finally turned to face me. My voice came out small. So, what exactly do you need me to do in your bedroom? He walked toward me. Each step deliberate. I backed up until I hit the door. This was it. This was how I die. He stopped right in front of me. Close. Too close. Then he reached past me and opened a massive wall unit, revealing hundreds of luxury watches in individual glass cases. Rolexes. Pateks. Richard Milles. A collection worth millions. I need you to organize. My jaw literally dropped. Organize? These need to be cataloged. By brand, year of manufacture, and current market value. Then arranged by color gradient. I stared at the watches, then at him, then back at the watches. You want me to organize your watch collection? He walked to his closet and opened the doors. Inside, suits organized with military precision. Every color, every fabric, perfectly spaced. After the watches, the closet. Every suit must be arranged by designer, then by fabric weight, then by season. The ties need to be organized by width and pattern complexity. I stared in absolute disbelief. This man, this terrifying mafia boss who probably kills people, was a control freak with severe OCD and a luxury goods addiction. Without thinking, I blurted out, "Are you serious right now?" His eyes flashed dangerously. "Do I look like I joke, Miss Baligan?" I shrank back. No, you look very serious. Very organized. I just thought. You thought what? My face went red. Nothing. Watches. I love watches. Big fan of time. Time is great. Very timely. The corner of his mouth lifted. The tiniest almost smile. Get to work. I have a meeting in 3 hours. I expect significant progress when I return. He grabbed a suit jacket, put it on with practiced ease. At the door, he paused. And Miss Balogun? Yes. Something almost vulnerable crossed his face. Don't touch the watch in the red case. It was my father's. And then he was gone. I stood alone in that massive bedroom, surrounded by luxury, and said out loud to myself, what the hell just happened? So there I was, in a mafia boss's bedroom, organizing watches. This was officially the weirdest Tuesday of my entire life. I spent the next 2 hours cataloging watches. At first, I was nervous and careful, but gradually I relaxed. Got into a rhythm. Started making notes, taking photos for reference. And here's the thing about spending hours in someone's private space. You start to notice things. Books. Lots of books on his shelves. Nietzsche, Camus, Murakami. Philosophy, classical literature, Korean poetry. And then, wait. I pulled out a worn, dog-eared copy of The Little Prince in Korean. The Little Prince? This scary mafia boss reads The Little Prince? I noticed prescription bottles on his nightstand, discreetly tucked behind a lamp. I picked one up. Zolpidem, that's for insomnia. I looked at the bed. Perfectly made, but there was an indent, like someone sits in the same spot every night, reading, unable to sleep. He can't sleep. He sits here, reading, trying to. My eyes landed on photos on a shelf. I picked one up. A young version of him, maybe 10 years old, standing stiffly next to an older Korean man in a suit. Neither smiling. The man had his hand on the boy's shoulder. Possessive, not affectionate. His father. The watch. I looked up at the red case on the high shelf. I climbed on a chair carefully to see it better through the glass. The watch inside was vintage, well-loved, clearly treasured. Quietly, I whispered to the photo, "You miss him, don't you? Even if he was. I told you not to touch that." I jumped, lost balance on the chair. The red case wobbled. Everything happened in slow motion. Me falling. The case falling. Him moving across the room with inhuman speed. He caught me with one arm, the case with his other hand. Both perfectly. We froze. His arm around my waist. My hands on his chest. His face inches from mine. We were both breathing hard. I wasn't touching it, I was just looking, I swear. His eyes were intense. Angry. But something else too. His jaw was tight. We were so close I could smell his cologne. Cedar and something expensive. You talk too much. I started babbling. People tell me that a lot. It's a nervous habit. I also eat when I'm nervous. And laugh. I laugh at inappropriate times. Like funerals. I laughed at my grandmother's funeral. Not because it was funny, but because his thumb brushed against my wrist where he was holding me. Whether intentional or not, neither of us knew. But we both noticed. His eyes dropped to my lips for a fraction of a second, then back up. His grip tightened slightly. His voice went quiet. Almost gentle. You've done well. The watches. I blinked, surprised. Oh, thanks. You have really good taste. Even if it's a slightly obsessive amount of, I winced. Beautiful watches. Beautiful, totally normal amount of watches. That tiny almost smile again. Obsessive? I found a tiny bit of courage. You have them arranged by moon phase compatibility. That's not normal. He actually looked impressed. And yet you figured out my system in under 4 hours. Most people wouldn't notice. My voice went softer. I notice things. Details. It's kinda my thing. We were still holding each other. Still too close. The air between us felt electric. I looked at the red case in his hand. Even softer, I asked, "Your father gave you that watch, didn't he? On a special occasion?" His entire expression shuddered immediately. He stepped back abruptly, set the case down carefully, let go of me. Cold again. Walls up. That's none of your concern. Right. Sorry. Boundaries. I don't have great ones, clearly. I'll just I'll go back to the ties. The ties need me. Awkward silence. I turned back to the closet. He stood there, watching me, expression conflicted. And then, crash. Glass shattering from somewhere downstairs. Shouting in Korean. His entire demeanor changed instantly. From conflicted man to apex predator in half a second. He moved to a hidden panel in the wall, pressed it. It opened, revealing weapons. I backed up, terrified. What's happening? He pulled out a gun. Matte black. Checked it with practiced ease. Pulled out his phone. In Korean, his tone deadly, he barked orders into the phone. More crashing downstairs. Gunshots. I flinched. He grabbed my wrist. Come here. Now. He pulled me to the corner of the room, positioned me behind him. His voice was low. Commanding. Stay behind me. Don't make a sound. Don't move unless I tell you to. I whispered, terrified, what's whose? Quiet. He aimed the gun at the door. I was pressed against the wall behind him, shaking. Footsteps. Running upstairs. Getting closer. The bedroom door slammed open violently. 3 men stormed in. Suits, but different. Different tattoos visible on their necks. Rival gang. They had guns. The first one sneered, speaking Korean. I didn't understand the words, but the tone was clear. A threat. The boss's expression was ice cold. Predator. His gun never wavered. He responded in Korean, his voice deadly calm. The rival laughed, then noticed me hiding behind the boss. His eyes lit up. He said something in Korean that made my blood run cold, grinning as he looked at me. The second rival took a step toward me. Reached out. The boss moved instantly. Put himself fully between me and the rival. His gun now pressed to the man's forehead. In English, his voice like ice and death, he said, touch her and you die before you hit the ground. Complete stillness. Everyone frozen. You could hear a pin drop. The first rival looked between us. Started laughing. He said something in Korean, amused. The boss's jaw clenched. He didn't respond. The rival continued, clearly enjoying this. And then, in the tense silence, my elbow accidentally bumped the shelf. Everything happened at once. The red watch case teetered. Started to fall. No. The case falling. His eyes widening, the first real fear I'd seen. Him diving for the case. The rivals raising their guns at his exposed position. Me screaming. Gunshots. Bang, bang, bang. Everything went black. I don't know what happened. When I could see again, I was on the ground, breathing hard, ears ringing, hands shaking. The 3 rivals were on the ground too. Not moving. The boss stood above them, guns still raised, breathing controlled. The red watch case was in his other hand. Intact. Safe. More men rushed into the room. His security team. They spoke quickly in Korean, apologizing for not stopping the intrusion. The boss said nothing. Just gestured to the bodies. His men immediately started removing them. He finally looked at me. I was still on the ground, shaking in shock. He set the watch case down carefully. Put the gun away. Walked to me. Knelt down to my level. Quietly, checking me for injuries, he asked, "Are you hurt?" I shook my head. Couldn't speak. He told his men to leave in Korean. The door closed. Just him and me. I finally found my voice. Shaky. You killed them? Matter of fact, he said, no. They're unconscious. They'll wake up in a warehouse and get the message. The message? That you're off limits. I processed this. My legs were still shaking. I should go home. This is insane. I can't. His expression hardened. You're not leaving. My eyes snapped to his. What? Serious. Calculated. They saw you. They know you're here. If you leave, they'll use you to get to me. The weight of those words settled on me. My voice came out small. So I'm, what? A hostage. You're under my protection. There's a difference. I let out a hysterical laugh. Is there though? Is there? He stepped closer. His expression was unreadable but intense. You'll stay here. In the guest room. You'll continue your work. And you'll be safe. And if I refuse? His jaw tightened. Quietly. Dangerously. You won't. We stared at each other, tension crackling. And that's how I went from working off a debt to prisoner in a mafia boss's mansion. But the worst part? The absolute worst part? His hand was still on my arm from helping me up. Neither of us pulled away. Electric tension between us. His voice went so quiet, almost vulnerable. You're safe here. I promise. And for some insane reason, I believed him. So, that happened. I'm currently in the guest room, which is nicer than any apartment I've ever lived in, and I can hear him pacing in his office down the hall. Should I trust him? Should I run? Should I stay for the watches? Drop a comment and tell me what you would do, because honestly, I have no idea. Also, smash that subscribe button because things are about to get messy. Part 2 is coming, and let's just say, the Beck family doesn't give up that easily. Thanks for watching. And seriously, don't crash into any mafia bosses. Trust me.